450 feet long, 75 feet wide, 45 feet high. That's not a boat, that's a wooden survival machine, built in an ancient world with no steel, no engines, no modern tools. Yet, its design matches principles modern naval engineers still use today. So the real question isn't did Noah build an ark? It's how did ancient builders understand engineering this advanced? The story of Noah's Ark is one of the most recognized accounts in human history. But somewhere between Sunday school lessons and children's books, we lost something critical. We forgot that this wasn't just a story about faith. It was a story about engineering, about problem-solving on a scale that would make modern builders weep. Tonight, we're pulling back the curtain on the hidden engineering behind Noah's Arkansas. And what you're about to discover will change everything you thought you knew. The impossible dimensions. Let's start with the numbers, because the numbers alone are staggering. 137 meters long, 23 meters wide, 3 stories high. To put this in perspective, that's longer than a football field, wider than a 4-lane highway, taller than a modern apartment building. This wasn't a boat. This was a floating fortress. And it was being built by a man who had never seen a flood, by a man who lived in a world where it had never rained, by a man whose neighbors thought he was absolutely insane. But here's where it gets interesting. God gave Noah the dimensions, the measurements, the specifications. What God didn't give him, the instruction manual for how to actually build it. That part, that was on Noah, the ground beneath his feet. Before Noah could even think about building, he had to solve his first engineering nightmare. The ground itself. Picture this. The pre-flood world was nothing like ours. The Bible tells us a mist watered the earth. Constant moisture, everywhere, all the time, which meant the ground was perpetually soft, muddy, unstable. Now imagine trying to build a structure weighing thousands of tons on ground that can't hold it. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a swamp. So what did Noah do? He had to become a civil engineer before civil engineering existed. First challenge, location. He needed massive amounts of cypress wood, which meant proximity to cypress forests. But he also needed flat terrain, stable terrain, terrain that wouldn't shift and buckle under the weight of the world's largest construction project. We're talking about surveying land without GPS, without levels, without any of the tools that make modern construction possible. Once he found the location, the real work began. The ground had to be leveled, not just cleared, leveled, on a scale of 137 meters by 23 meters, with nothing but primitive tools and human muscle. But leveling wasn't enough. The ground had to be compacted, hardened, made stable enough to support a wooden structure that would dwarf anything humanity would build for millennia. Picture Noah and his sons, day after day, pounding the earth, digging channels to divert water, creating drainage systems without modern plumbing, fighting against the very nature of their world just to create a foundation. And this was just the beginning, the Cypress Challenge. Now comes the part that would break most men, gathering the materials. Cypress wood, strong, durable, naturally resistant to decay, the perfect building material. But there's a problem. Cypress trees don't come pre-cut. And we're not talking about a few dozen planks from the local lumber yard. We're talking about enough wood to build a structure the size of a small neighborhood. Imagine standing at the base of a massive cypress tree, maybe 6 feet in diameter, maybe 80 feet tall, and all you have is a bronze axe. No chainsaws, no power tools. Just you, the tree, and the muscle God gave you. One tree might take days to fell, days of swinging, days of precision cuts, days of hoping the tree falls in the right direction and doesn't crush everything around it. But felling the tree? That's the easy part. Now you have a multi-ton log lying in the forest, and it needs to get to the construction site, which could be hundreds of meters away. This is where Noah had to innovate, where engineering merged with raw determination. Wooden rollers, crude, yes, but effective. Picture this, cutting smaller trees to use as cylindrical rollers, laying them in a path, positioning the massive trunk on top, then pushing, pulling, inching forward meter by meter, When the trunk moves past the back roller, someone has to run, grab it, and place it at the front. Over and over, hour after hour, day after day, for every single log. We're talking about months of backbreaking labor just to gather materials. And they haven't even started building yet. The keel, the spine of salvation. Now we arrive at the most critical structural element of any ship, the keel. The keel is the spine, the foundation, the single piece of wood that runs the entire length of the vessel and holds everything together. Here's the problem. Noah needed a keel 137 meters long. That's 450 feet. Cypress trees don't grow that tall. No tree does, which means the keel couldn't be one piece. It had to be multiple massive trunks joined together with such precision, such strength, that they would function as a single beam. Think about what this requires. Each joint is a potential point of failure, a place where water could seep in, a place where the structure could flex and weaken. Noah had to design joints that would hold under impossible stress, under the weight of 3 stories of animals, food, and supplies, under the violent rocking of a worldwide flood, under forces that would tear lesser structures apart. We're talking about mortise and tenon joints on a scale never attempted before. Wooden pegs driven through overlapping sections with such force, such precision, that they'd create an unbreakable bond. No nails, no screws, no modern fasteners, just wood on wood. Geometry, physics, and faith. Each section had to be perfectly straight, perfectly aligned, because even a slight deviation would compound over 137 meters, creating a twisted, weakened structure. Hours of measurement with primitive tools, days of trimming and fitting, testing the joints, reinforcing weak points, and this was just the keel, the foundation upon which everything else would be built. Raising the ribs. With the keel in place, Noah faced his next engineering marvel. The ribs. These weren't straight beams. They were curved, arched, designed to give the hull its shape and distribute weight across the entire structure. Creating curved beams from straight trees is an art form. Steam bending wouldn't be discovered for thousands of years. So how did Noah do it? He had to find naturally curved wood. Trees that grew in specific patterns. Branches that curved just right. Then shape them, trim them, make each one fit perfectly into the grand design. But here's where it gets truly remarkable. Each rib had to be identical, or at least symmetrical on both sides of the keel. Why? Balance. Imagine a ship with ribs that are different sizes on each side. It would list, tilt, become unstable the moment it entered water. Noah had to create custom joints for each rib. Each connection point had to bear the weight of the deck above while maintaining the curve of the hull. And these ribs had to be raised, positioned, secured, all while fighting gravity with nothing but leverage and manpower. Picture Noah and his sons, using crude pulleys made from rope and wood, lifting massive curved beams into position, holding them steady while others secured the joints. One mistake and the entire structure could collapse. Months of work destroyed in seconds. But they didn't make mistakes, because they couldn't afford to. The seal of survival. A wooden ship is just a collection of lumber until it's made waterproof. And in Noah's case, waterproofing wasn't optional. It was the difference between survival and drowning. The solution, bitumen, a natural resin, sticky, waterproof, and absolutely miserable to work with. The Bible tells us Noah covered the ark inside and out. That's every surface, every crack, every seam, coated in thick, black pitch. Imagine the smell, the heat required to melt it, the burns from handling it, the relentless, exhausting work of painting an entire massive structure by hand. But this wasn't just about keeping water out. It was about keeping chaos in. Because the ark wasn't just carrying Noah and his family. It was carrying every kind of animal, every species, every creature that walked, crawled, or flew. And they were about to spend a year together in close quarters. The interior masterpiece. This is where Noah's genius truly shines. Because building a massive boat is one thing. Organizing it for survival is another entirely. 3 floors, each with a specific purpose. And the layout? Pure engineering brilliance. The bottom floor, the heavy animals. the large animals, elephants, rhinos, the creatures whose weight could capsize the entire vessel if placed incorrectly. Low center of gravity, basic physics, but executed perfectly. The middle floor, medium-sized animals, deer, sheep, cattle, the bulk of the animal kingdom arranged for optimal weight distribution. Top floor, lighter animals, birds in cages, smaller creatures, Noah's family's living quarters. But weight distribution was just the beginning. Noah had to solve problems no architect had ever faced. Compartments, individual spaces for different species, because you can't just throw lions and lambs together and hope for the best. We're talking about hundreds of separate enclosures, each sized appropriately, each secure, each accessible for feeding and cleaning. Speaking of feeding, a year's worth of food for every animal, stored in a way that prevents spoilage, that remains accessible, that doesn't add so much weight that the ark sinks. Grain for herbivores, meat for carnivores, water storage, all organized with surgical precision. Then there's ventilation. This is critical. Hundreds of animals in an enclosed space? Without proper airflow, they'd suffocate. Disease would spread. The air would become toxic. Noah designed openings, corridors, air channels that allowed fresh air to circulate through all 3 floors. A passive ventilation system that would make modern engineers jealous. And waste management. Let's not sugarize this. We're talking about a year of animal waste. Tons of it. Literal tons. Noah had to design a system to remove it, collect it, dispose of it, all while the ark was sealed and floating in a worldwide flood. Slanted floors directing waste to collection points, channels that could be periodically emptied through sealed hatches. A waste management system built 4,000 years before modern plumbing. The ark wasn't just a boat. It was a fully functioning ecosystem, a mobile biosphere designed to preserve life itself. The door, the weakest link. Every structure has a vulnerability. For the ark, it was the door. Think about it. You're building a waterproof vessel designed to survive a global flood, and you need a door large enough to let elephants through. Every door is a weak point, a place where water pressure can push through, where structural integrity is compromised. Noah's solution? Over-engineering, thick beams, reinforced joints, a door so strong it could withstand the pressure of water that covered the highest mountains. But here's where the story takes a supernatural turn. The Bible is specific about one thing. The Lord shut the door. Noah built it, but God sealed it. This wasn't just about waterproofing. This was about divine intervention. A physical representation that this wasn't just Noah's project anymore. God was taking over. The gathering. And then they came. Not herded, not captured, not forced. The animals came on their own. The Bible describes it as an orchestrated movement, one of each kind, male and female, walking, flying, crawling toward the ark. Imagine Noah standing at the entrance, watching the impossible unfold. Predators walking peacefully beside prey. Animals that had never been in the same territory, moving together toward the same destination. This wasn't natural animal behavior. This was supernatural choreography. Lions entering calmly, birds landing in designated areas, reptiles slithering into their compartments, each one finding its place as if guided by an invisible hand. Because they were. God didn't just give Noah the blueprints. He delivered the passengers. He arranged the impossible. He demonstrated that when divine instruction meets human obedience, miracles become reality. The flood. And then it happened. The Bible describes 2 events occurring simultaneously. The fountains of the great deep burst forth. Underground water reserves, held back since creation, exploded upward. And the floodgates of heaven opened. For the first time in human history, it rained. Imagine that moment. Noah, who had been mocked for building a boat for a flood when it had never rained, feeling the first drops on his face. Vindication and terror in equal measure. The rain didn't stop. 40 days and 40 nights. Not a drizzle. Not a storm. A deluge that reshaped the entire planet. The ark began to rise. Gently at first. Then more dramatically as the water level surged. Everything Noah knew disappeared beneath the surface. His neighbors' homes, the fields he'd walked, the world he'd grown up in, all of it gone. The ark floated, tossed by waves that would dwarf modern tsunamis. But it held. Every joint Noah had meticulously crafted. Every beam he'd precisely positioned. Every seal he'd carefully applied. All of it held. Months passed. The water rose until it covered the highest mountains by 15 cubits. The entire world was an ocean, and the ark was the only dry ground left. Inside, the animals remained calm, federal cared for, protected by the structure Noah had built and God had sealed. The receding. After 150 days, the water began to recede. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first. But God remembered Noah, and God sent a wind over the earth. The fountains of the deep closed. The rain stopped, and gradually, day by day, the water level dropped. Noah waited, because there was nothing else to do. The door was sealed by God. Only God could open it. After months of floating, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. But Noah still waited, because dry ground doesn't mean safe ground. The earth needed time to heal, to drain, to become habitable again. So Noah sent out birds, a raven first, then a dove. The first dove returned, no place to land. The earth was still covered. 7 days later, he sent it again. This time it returned with an olive leaf. Life was returning. 7 more days. The dove didn't come back. It had found a home. After a full year inside the ark, God finally spoke. Come out. And the door that God had shut, God opened it. The aftermath. Noah stepped out onto a transformed world. Nothing looked the same. The entire geography had been reshaped. Mountains in new places, valleys where plains had been. His first act? Build an altar, offer sacrifice, worship the God who had preserved them. And God responded with a covenant, promise. Never again would he destroy the earth with a flood. The rainbow became the sign, a physical reminder in the sky of divine mercy. But the story of the ark doesn't end there. It echoes through history, a testament to what happens when human skill meets divine purpose. The ark was more than wood and pitch. It was more than engineering and physics. It was an act of faith set in timber. Every beam Noah cut was a statement of trust. Every joint he crafted was a declaration of obedience. Every day he worked while his neighbors mocked was a choice to believe God over culture. The hidden engineering behind Noah's Ark reveals something profound. God doesn't just demand faith. He partners with it. He gave the vision. Noah provided the labor. He gave the dimensions. Noah figured out the execution. He provided the animals. Noah had built the home. Divine instruction, human application, supernatural intervention, physical effort, all working together to accomplish the impossible. The Ark still speaks. Not just about a flood that destroyed the world, but about the salvation that preserved it, about a God who warns before he judges, about obedience that seems foolish until it's vindicated, and about engineering that was so advanced, so precisely calculated, that it accomplished what seemed impossible, preserving life through total destruction. The next time you hear the story of Noah's Ark, don't just think about the animals entering 2 by 2. Think about the man who spent decades building the impossible. Think about the engineering hidden in the biblical account. Think about what faith looks like when it picks up a saw and gets to work. Because the ark was never just about surviving the flood. It was about demonstrating that when God gives the blueprint and humans provide the obedience, nothing is impossible. But the story doesn't end there. What happened after the flood? How did 8 people repopulate the entire earth? What became of the animals? And where is the ark now? That's a story for another time. If you want to discover what happened after the waters receded, subscribe. Because the mysteries of Noah's story are far from over. The ark was just the beginning.